I told you he was going to be way, way nicer to Zoran in person. This doesn't mean he's not going to keep daggering him. He will. He will. He will keep playing. He'll keep playing the song and dance like, oh, yeah, Zoran Mamdani, he's crazy.
You're watching CBS News 24/7, and quite an extraordinary office between President Trump and New York City Mayor-elect Zoran Mamdani. They were both very complimentary, as you heard, very civil. And this comes just weeks after the president urged voters not to vote for him in New York City's mayoral election. The president expressed hope for Mamdani's tenure as mayor. Listen.
I feel very confident that he can do a very good job. I think he's going to be. I think he is going to surprise some conservative people, actually, and some very liberal people. He won't surprise them because they already like him.
Mamdani as well, also very complimentary of Trump about their meeting this afternoon.
I appreciated the meeting with the president, and as he said, it was a productive meeting focused on a place of shared admiration and love, which is New York City, and the need to deliver affordability to New Yorkers, the 8.5 million people who call our city their home, who are struggling to afford life in the most expensive city in the United States of America. We spoke about rent, we spoke about groceries, we spoke about utilities, we spoke about the different ways in which people are being pushed out, and I appreciated the time with the president. I appreciated the conversation. I look forward to working together.
God, I love the hog meltdown. God, I love the hog tears. Oh my God, what a time. What a life. What a time to be alive. Trump just shorter campaign by saying he's not a jihadist. Yep. I mean, I think that, yeah, I didn't miss anything. I was listening. I was listening while I was pooping. Okay. I was listening while I was pooping. The bathroom is right next to right next to my desk. Calm down. I guess I missed the dab up. Look at this still from the meeting. It's so over. Yeah. Find you somebody who looks at you like Donald Trump looks at Zoran Mamdani. With the door open is criminal. I fixed the noise gate so you can't hear shit. They cut the part where Trump said good answer. I'm telling you, Mike Johnson, we're going to make Zoran Mamdani the face of the Democratic Party. Donald Trump. And what a beautiful face it is. Look at that smile. We love Zoran Mamdani, don't we, folks? I look forward to working with him. He's going to make New York City great again. He's going to make New York City great again. Trump is trying to use Zoran favorability to his favor. Yes. Zoran Mamdani is a candidate that won on affordability. Donald Trump recognizes how important that is right now. It's a major area of weakness for him because he hasn't done shit on affordability, even though he ran on affordability. And that is why he is fucking off Zoran Mamdani's okay, in the Oval like he's Bubba. You missed the last question. It is not included in the video, by the way. What was the last question? Not included in the video. I think it's weird because Trump literally defended Zoran, calling him a despot who betrayed the country. Like, why would he do that? Just because he likes winners? He's doing that because he has to be aligned. He has to be at least aesthetically aligned with Zoran Mamdani because he is trying to get a little bit of that shine. That's it. I think it's more of a bending the knee to him than vice versa. I know everyone will say, oh no, Zoran is bending the knee to Donald Trump, but I think it's the opposite. Trump glazed Zoran at the end, but the video feed cut it off. Wait, really?
Deeply about Jewish safety, and I look forward to rooting out anti-Semitism across the 5 boroughs and protecting Jewish New Yorkers and every New Yorker who calls the city home.
He said that was good. Oh shit! So there you go. Look how happy he is. Look at his face. Look at his face. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. I told you he was going to be way, way nicer to Zoran in person. This doesn't mean he's not going to keep daggering him. He will. He will. He will keep playing. He'll keep playing the song and dance like, oh, yeah, Zoran Mamdani, he's crazy. He's a communist. He's a radical communist Marxist. He's out of his mind, whatever. What has Zoran done so far that you don't agree with? Keeping Jessica Tisch on as police commissioner, I think, is devastating. I don't like that. And I also disagree with him and whatever his assessment is in terms of not endorsing or coming out of the gates and like actively tampering with Chiose's endorsement and basically saying he shouldn't run, like openly being contentious to Chiose running against Hakeem Jeffries. This is proof that Trump's entire ideology is just whoever he talked to 20 minutes ago. No, it's more complicated than that. It's more complicated than that. I don't agree with that. What were they talking about? Life. My assessment of that is knowing he needs to keep cops in line, and cops are all about their own. Yeah, but you can find a different person to keep the cops in line that is actually going to be sympathetic to you. Tish is a billionaire family, comes from a billionaire family, and that family spent tens of millions of dollars in attack ads against Zohran Mamdani. Jessica Tish is also an ultra-Zionist. It's completely unacceptable. Straightforwardly the opposite of what he should be doing, okay? But what do I know? I'm not the mayor. I'm not making these calculations. I'm not in these rooms. But my assessment is, as an outsider, my assessment is that Jessica Tish will make things harder for Zohran Mamdani commanding the police force in a way that he needs to, rather than make it easier. Because once again, I think it's customary. Like, it's normal for the police commissioner to leave or coming in. And Zohran Mamdani saying he's going to keep Jessica Tish on the job was actually unique, especially when the police commissioner and her family are directly antagonistic to Zohran, his worldview, whether it be on Israel or whether it be on socialism. He can just remove her at some point, but that will make things more complicated. There was a better opportunity to use the transition to put whoever he wanted in charge. The assessment, as an outsider for me, is that he thinks this will help him govern better, I guess. I have so much hate for people saying Mamdani is compromised. Like, I swear to God, what do you want? That he doesn't play ball in his 10 years, a net failure? That's so unserious for some of you. I mean, I'm not saying that he's compromised. I'm not saying that at all. But I can disagree with him at times, you know. I disagreed with him during the election when he dropped the globalize the intifada narratives. I think it was a concession that he knows is untrue. He said something he knows is not true at a time when he actually won the primary on being uncompromising and truthful about things that everyone could see. Very mixed feelings on this White House meeting, says Zach Sage Fox. This is Andrew Cuomo. This is Andrew Cuomo's social media guy. Remember him? Very mixed feelings on this White House meeting. I love when people from different sides come together and work on issues for Americans, but Zohran is a blatant terrorist sympathizer with views that are vehemently anti-American and out of the mainstream. Socialism is no joke. I wish the president pushed him to reform and moderate. Didn't even try. That's glorious. This makes me very happy. I'm not going to lie. This makes me very, very, very happy. Trump and Mamdani giving the country a vision that of what bottom v top rather than left v right policy would look like, if not historic, is a genuinely novel development. It's so funny to see the left slobber over Trump like this after claiming that liberals are too conciliatory and insufficiently combative. I don't agree with either party's assessment here. I just don't think... I don't agree with Ryan saying this. I don't think Donald Trump is doing top versus bottom politics. Not only is he a billionaire, but it's very obvious that his policy agenda is entirely around beefing up culture war narratives in an effort to confuse people or to distract them when he is just robbing them blind. The commonality is that Trump and Mamdani understand that most Americans are unhappy with the status quo. This makes them more in sync with the electorate than the brain-dead neoliberalism and the GOP. This is a better assessment. This is a better assessment than what Ryan Grimm is saying. Donald Trump ran on a wave of anti-establishment anger and resentment, and he won on that anti-establishment wave and resentment. Ryan is 1,000% right, and you are acting like grass looking at the trees. You're saying I'm missing the forest for the trees? Are you serious? Donald Trump's entire worldview and his style of politics is sloppyism. Okay? Using fake populism to garner support only to over the working class by refocusing their efforts on culture war narratives, culture war issues, everybody transgender. That is the exact opposite of down-up politics, top-bottom politics. Donald Trump is a Republican. Republicans don't do class politics, or rather, they do class politics all the time, but they do it at the behest of the billionaire class. Democrats also do it at the behest of the fucking billionaire class too. But the Republicans are open about their disdain for the poor for the most part. Donald Trump is a newer version of this because he just fakes it like he's one with the working class. Oh my God. I did miss this part. Stefanik has called Mamdani a jihadist. Do you think you're standing next to a jihadist right now? Oh my fucking God. I missed this part.
Please.
Dude, if I'm oh my God, at least Stefanik's gonna kill herself, dude. Holy shit. He just destroyed her entire fucking gubernatorial run. Look, we want New York City to succeed, but we'll have to agree to disagree on this one. If he walks like a jihadist, he talks like a jihadist. If he campaigns like a jihadist, if he supports jihadists, he's a jihadist. And he's Kathy Hochul's jihadist. Oh my God. You didn't miss it? You literally commented on it when we were watching? No, I missed that it was about Elise Stefanik.
Elise Stefanik has campaigned multiple times by calling Zohran Mamdani a jihadist. Do you think you're standing next to a jihadist right now in the Oval Office?
No, I don't, but she's out there campaigning, and, you say things sometimes in a campaign.
Isn't that sort of
She's a very capable person.
Isn't
But
that a kind of
you really have to ask her about that. But I don't particularly. I think I met with I met with a man who's a very rational person. I met with a man who really wants to see New York be great again. And I can say again, because New York was great. When I'm meeting, please.
Mr. President, Republican Elise Stefanik has campaigned multiple times by calling Zohran Mamdani a jihadist. Do you think you're standing next to a jihadist?
On the previous topic, DHS literally tweeted out that immigrants are to blame for everything. Yeah. Hochul said he's dabbing on her. Full statement from Kathy Hochul. Hochul Campaign Communications Director Serafina Chitika released the following statement. The entire country just watched Donald Trump throw Elise Stefanik under the bus the same way she's been throwing New Yorkers under the bus for years. In one breath, Trump nuked her opening argument and told every New Yorker listening that she's only playing politics. We haven't seen Stefanik take an L this big since Trump crushed her dreams of joining his administration. Oh, nasty. Nasty, nasty, nasty business. That's what politics is. It's a nasty business. It's not a very good business. It's nasty. Hold on. Ken K with another banger. Mamdani turned his haters into his waiters at the table of success is fucking true. Girl is more racist than Trump? Yes. Oh, there's so much more copium. Sid Rosenberg, remember the guy who said Zohran Mamdani would celebrate another 9/11 happening? If you truly love and know Trump, Sid, then this press conference should have been expected. Anyone who truly understands Trump expected it to unfold just the way it did. Exactly.
So I'm right back in the chair I was sitting in my family room on October 8th, that Sunday morning, the day after October 7th. Same exact chair. Same exact shirt. How weird is that? Didn't even realize that till just now. October 8th, 2023. Same chair. This is where I watched that press conference, if you will, between President Trump and Mayor-elect Mamdani. And I think a lot of you know how much I love President Trump. I think a lot of you know President Trump reciprocates that. In fact, I'll be in Washington, D.C. coming up in a couple of weeks when I am sworn in for President Trump's Holocaust Memorial Council. But with that said,
did the GOP just get cucked? I mean, I think ultimately, what will end up happening is Donald Trump always goes back to what his big donors tell him to do. He always listens, right? I am reminded of the defense that he delivered to Hamas in the aftermath of the peace plan, the so-called ceasefire plan that he implemented, where he was like, well, Hamas, they're doing their best. They have to deal with the criminals just like Trump. Trump wants to deal with the criminals, and Hamas is dealing with the criminals. And then a couple days later, he got the boss call and was like, actually, they're being violent. They need to stop killing people now, you know? And I suspect that there will be another moment exactly like that, because a lot of the Zionist mega donors that he has, a lot of his Zionist mega donors are going to be making boss calls after this, freaking the fuck out that he was functionally glazing Zoran And Zoran is their number one op, right? It's crazy.
For me, Sid Rosenberg, I'm going to say it at the risk of pissing off President Trump, that was a tough press conference to watch, okay? He is a jihadist. Elise Stefanik is right. Sorry, Mr. President. His explanations about genocide and anti-Semitism, President Trump should have been...
I mean, we have to look at these guys like QAnon, man. I certainly do, but I hope other people also read it in the same way, where they're just like deeply insincere and genuinely psychotic people. If you look at someone like Zoran Mamdani and you're like, oh, he's a jihadist. If you look at someone like Zoran Mamdani and say he's a jihadist, he's an anti-Semite, like, you are so unimaginably fucking racist that it's difficult to have a normal conversation with you. How can I have a normal conversation with a person like this? Like, you are just not living on the same fucking plane of existence with the rest of us. Dude has the popular position on Israel. Okay? He has the popular position on Israel. He also has actively worked to overcome the false smears of anti-Semitism, many of which is directed his way because of his background, because of his Muslim background. Let's be fucking real on that too, right? And yet, these are people who are still calling him a fucking jihadist and shit. Like, it's not... If you look at a guy like Zoran Mamdani and you say he's a jihadist anti-Semite for having the majority position on Israel, you're a psycho.
A lot tougher. I understand Trump wants New York to be great. So do I, President Trump. He doesn't even live here. He's got business interests here, but he's in Florida. He's in D.C. I live here. I have kids here. I need this city to be great. I understand all that. But to give this guy a pass, shaking hands and smiling and what a terrific guy and we're getting along great, I get it. Look, he goes to the Middle East. He gets along with the Arabs. He goes to Asia. He gets along with some of the guys there.
Yeah, he's not as racist as we want him to be, all right? Come on. Come on. We all want him to be a little bit more racist towards the Arabs, right? But he's not. He's not. He's not as racist towards the Arabs as we want him to be. It's all good, though. It's all fucking good, though. You know, at the end of the day, he's still giving us what we fucking want. Does this man have eyes to see? No, he is so thumb-like that his fucking eyelids have closed in on him.
I get it. That's how Trump operates. It's genius, really. That's how he's able to solve all these world conflicts. But this today between Trump and Mamdani, probably the toughest watch for me of any political press conference I've seen, maybe ever. Sorry, Mr. President, he's not conning me. Not yet.
Okay, this is the only Zoran critique I abide by. Okay? Zoran might not be a true leftist because everyone actually likes him. And it's ironic because the person who made this comment, I think, has blocked me. Yep, there it is. There you go. This is what being a true leftist is all about. As soon as I see the grayed out retweet like bars, I'm like, oh, there it is. You are not a true leftist either by those standards, Lemafayao. What do you mean? Plenty of fucking leftists despise me. I assume, including this fucking guy. I don't know anything about him. I don't know who the fuck this guy is, but he likes Zoran Mamdani, but he hates me. Think about that. I'm pretty sure everyone isn't a true leftist then. He's a reformist and not a revolutionary communist. I mean, I am a reformist. Probably someone who blocked you after October 7th, but then came around. Nah, he's too brown to have blocked me after October 7th. It's probably some other reason. I never watched your content before this recent controversy, but it made sense when I started watching why so many people hate you. When you really challenge power to that extent, they will loathe you. I think in the simplest terms, people just don't want someone constantly telling them the shit ain't right. Okay? People want to be sedated. What we're doing here is still entertainment. And people don't want to constantly fucking hear about how awful everything is. Even though I try to do everything in my power to make it entertaining, ultimately, a lot of people lose their fucking minds over this shit. They don't want to hear someone constantly tell them like, no, actually, this thing that you consider to be objectively good or this thing that you have deluded yourself into thinking is good is actually bad, and here's why. No one wants to hear that. People also don't have people also don't have any nuance in the way that they operate. They don't have any room for disagreement. There's no room for ideological diversity. And I'm all about that. Ironically enough, contrary to what my haters fucking present me as, I consistently tell people that it is okay to disagree with one another. You don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater all the time. This is, in and of itself, ironically, a thing that leftists also despise. Leftists hate that I say that sometimes. Some people disagree with me on that front, where they're like, how dare you? How dare you say that, how dare you say that, you know, we can be more understanding of people, depending on, I mean, and be more cognizant of their background.
Deliver that affordability.
Anyway, let's
for
continue
viewers.
with this.
CBS News political reporter Zach Kodak joining us live now. Zach, a lot of eyes on this conversation, on this meeting. You know, quite a different tone before this election. The president really now giving his stamp of approval for Mamdani, the two of them having a conversation, if you will, as opposed to...
What is this? Nah, man, you also have purity tests. Otherwise, you wouldn't be so isolated from other people denouncing Israel's war crimes. What? You also have purity tests? Otherwise, you wouldn't be so isolated from other people denouncing Israel's war crimes. Who am I isolated from in terms of people who denounce Israel's war crimes? I have purity tests. What's written on my shirt means rooted in Arabic. Please explain what you mean, chatter. Unless you're talking about Nazis. I hope you're not talking about Nazis. I need to know. Is it a Fuentes guy? I am... No way, just libs and others. Who? Explain who you mean. Because there are a shit ton of people who actually yell at me. There are a shit ton of people in the anti-Zionist movement who yell at me all the time because they say I'm too forgiving. I'm too forgiving of people who have changed their minds after being pro-Israel and then realizing that Israel is committing a genocide. So I don't know what you're talking about. On that front, a lot of other ultra-leftists hate me for that reason. I think the reason why he's saying that is because he's I suspect he might be like a Ethan Klein fan, but he's too ashamed to admit it. Or rather, what she perceived as the deep state pedophilic cabal is actually absolutely something that Donald Trump is playing ball with, you know? I don't know. I haven't found myself this fucking confused by the actions of a politician in a long time. It's actually confusing.
Prior to the election. Your thoughts and take on this?
Well, Jules, I think it was somewhat of a surprise to all of us to see how well they were getting along, but I think at the heart of that is what they said they talked about before they let the cameras in, which is making New York affordable for New Yorkers. And I think really what that illustrates is the fine line between the far-right campaign that President Trump ran and the far-left Democratic Socialist campaign that Mamdani ran. We saw this even in the past with a lot of similarities between President Trump's campaigns and Bernie Sanders' campaigns. I think the reality here is that while they are on different ends of the political spectrum, they are both populists, and they both realize that what Americans care about most right now, and we continue to see this in the polling that we keep doing, is affordability and bringing prices down for Americans and helping everyday Americans. I think the other thing that played a factor, they are both extremely charismatic politicians. I think both of them, a lot of their political strength.
Yeah, I mean, they do have to hit the media has to hit this like very interesting centrist route on this stuff. Did we talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene resigning it? You're joking, right? There is no way that you just joined the stream 25 seconds after I got done talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene resigning. Oh my God. That's so funny. This chatter straight up logged in right as I ended that portion. Chatters, you can use the rewind function on the HasanAbi broadcast. The Piker Broadcasting Service, PBS, is sponsored by you, the viewers, for you, the viewers. For $8 a month in the form of a subscription or a Twitch Prime that is free, you can actually now rewind the stream. That's right. The Piker Broadcasting Service is sponsored by you, the viewers, for you, the viewers. And if you are a subscriber to the Piker Broadcasting Service, you can use the rewind component. It's called a joke, man. No, I don't think so. I think sometimes people do unironically join. Sometimes people unironically join right as I'm done talking about something. I mean, there's 30,000 people in here. It's a fucking arena full of people, you know? People are filtering in and out. It happens. Now that I brought this up, though, there will be a shit ton of people who love a shit ton of jokesters who will be coming in to be like, Marjorie Taylor Greene is resigning. You should talk about that.
Their ability to captivate a crowd.
See?
And I think they...
See? The independent thinkers of the HasanAbi broadcast. The independent thinkers of the HasanAbi broadcast, dude. You spent only 5 minutes on it? What more can I do? I just don't understand what else to say about it.
Recognize that in one another, and they recognize that there are ways that they could actually help one another. Now, there are some difficulties here. We know that House Republicans, for the most part, are gearing...
She's going to join TYT. I don't think that's as far-fetched as you think it is. I do not think that that is a far-fetched statement. Genuinely. I'm telling you, dude, a lot of these guys love pivoting to media. And there are former media members who have now, who are now working in the administration, who literally despise it, who hate working in the administration and want to go back to their media jobs. These guys love doing media. Why are you dodging this issue? Did you cover that I just flicked my bean? Baby matcha latte 129. No, I did not cover that, but thank you for informing us that you just flicked your bean. Baby matcha latte 129.
To run in 2026 in the midterms, largely against Mamdani. They plan to paint their opponents as connected to this Democratic socialist who is the mayor, or going to be the mayor of the largest city in the country. That does create, obviously, a tension between the way that President Trump is talking about them. We saw one of the questions from the press was about Elise Stefanik being very harsh on Mamdani, calling him a jihadist, and President Trump sort of batted that down and said he seems like a very reasonable guy, but she's out campaigning, and sometimes you say things when you're campaigning. So I think this wasn't quite what anyone expected, but there are explanations for it. And it seems that there is a bit of a budding bromance between these two.
Yeah, absolutely. They were on the same page on certain topics. Even the president saying he would live in New York under Mamdani's leadership as mayor, which he didn't say that weeks ago.
That's exactly right. It is a fact that President Trump hated passionately Bill de Blasio. And even Eric Adams, the two of them would rub each other the wrong way at times. But I think another factor here is that they are both expert flatterers. You saw them really flattering one another and praising one another in that press conference. And I think they both knew that it's not what was expected. And I think they both realized, the president even said at one point, the press is eating this up. And he was absolutely right, because it's not what people expected. And there is something that they can both get from one another. Mamdani needs the president to continue to allow federal funds to go to New York. Just about a month and a half ago, at the beginning of the shutdown, we saw the president halt nearly $20 million in federal funding that would have gone to infrastructure projects in New York. In order to enact his agenda, Mamdani is going to need federal funds, and there's about $10 billion in federal funds that theoretically could be halted by the administration. So he needs that from President Trump. President Trump, on the other hand, has a wide-ranging immigration agenda, particularly focused on major cities. He's going to need Mamdani to not be too much against that. I can't imagine that he'll go fully along with that. I can't imagine he'll want ICE on the streets of New York. But nonetheless, the president needs him to somewhat go along with that. And there's no question that this president is a New Yorker and loves New York. He clearly desires for it to be a place that welcomes him when he goes back there. He's spent in recent years.
Trump is a closeted Marxist-Leninist Jusha is. He's showing his colors now that he talked with Zoran. Yeah, MAGA communism was real. I was so disrespectful to the ACP. It turns out MAGA communism was a true movement. I'm kidding. For the record, I'm not being sincere. Please don't take that seriously. This is the bonus of being a leftist. You know these people, you know these people better than their own fan base knows them, and you can play them like a fiddle. I feel like lots of people online will call this caving. I think he knows exactly what he's doing. Working poor seeks wealthy benefactor for the gift of sub. Help me out, chat. All peace and love. DSAL. Spread kindness for further.
More time in Florida. He said it's a place he could see himself living in the future. So I think they both have things to gain from having a friendly relationship with one another.
Yeah, absolutely. Zach Hudak in Washington, thank you so much. And joining us live now is Joel Payne, CBS News political contributor and chief communications officer for Move.
Okay, this is also a very funny thing that took place, for the record. Look at Hebrew media after Zohran Mamdani stood next to Donald Trump at the Oval Office and said the Israeli government is committing a genocide and our government is funding it. Here's Jerusalem Post, Times of Israel, and Khan News. Mamdani accuses U.S. of funding genocide by Israel during warm meeting with Trump. The Jerusalem Post. Mamdani accused Israel of genocide with U.S. funding during White House meeting. Mamdani, Israel's committing a genocide. President Trump, a rational man, not a jihadist. Oh, my Lord. Are you reading out anyone's chat? No. Oh, my Lord. Holy moly. Things are going swimmingly well in Israel. Yes, I am familiar with Marjorie Taylor Greene resigning from Congress. Is there a reason why... was there like a New York Times button or something? Is that why a lot of people are tuning in right now? You seem so happy. Well, the reason why I seem happy is, one, because I am happy. I'm in China. But the other reason why I seem so happy while covering the news right now is that the news is pretty good today, you know? Not every day, but today the news are pretty decent. It's a little weird, but it's also a little good. Well, fortunately, there's a third or maybe even fourth option in all these scenarios. Yeah, Peter Dow, my goat, former Hillary Clinton staffer and phalangist, Peter Dow, who now is a revolutionary communist himself. Nick Fuentes, I'd work with Mamdani. Hakeem Jeffries just voted to condemn socialism. Marjorie Taylor Greene, it's a genocide in Gaza. Obama speechwriter, what genocide? Tucker Carlson, slaughter of Gaza civilians is evil. Kamala Harris, Israel has a right to defend itself. Adam Johnson responds, well, fortunately, there's a third or maybe even fourth option in all these scenarios. Every 2 years, we have this realignment discourse. And I have to remind people that the defining feature of fascism is the co-option of rhetoric and aesthetics of left politics that peel people away to white nationalism that will, at the end of the day, always serve capital. There is no realignment. There is simply more sophisticated Nazis with a shitload of dark money and a liberal establishment that would rather hold on to a dying neoliberal ideology than align themselves with leftist policies in a meaningful way. This is the truth, straight up. That's why I always get annoyed with people who are like, whoa, well, Nick Fuentes said the left and the right must work together. And it's like, you are going to get killed if you believe that. That is a belief system that has caused people to die in the past. Socialists and communists are the first to go, okay? Always. Because they are those who actually threaten the established hierarchy of capital. So they are first on the chopping block before anybody else. My brother in Allah, I know MTG just resigned. Oh, it's because I covered it faster than the news media covered it. That's why we were first to cover it. So people are like, I've already gone through the statement. Here, we'll just tune into CNN and see what they're talking about. I assume they're talking about this now, right? They're breaking it probably. They must be. Wait, what?
Pelosi. It was her first interview since she announced her retirement. That after...
Oh my God. Are you serious? I saw you report it here and I went and told my dad. He said it's fake news because it wasn't on CNN. Yeah, because CNN is too busy glazing Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi. Also, I did this walk as well on camera. Shadi Hamid says, you can now call what Israel's done to the Palestinians a genocide of the White House, which happened today for the first time during Mamdani's remarks. That's the new normal. It's a sea change in how we talk about Israel. Progress. Matt Iglesias responds, progress towards what? I don't know. Towards the truth. Towards acknowledgement. God, he is so annoying. I cannot stand Matt Iglesias. I guess my article today was the last straw for Marjorie Taylor Greene. The strange new respect for Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene saw Matt Iglesias support her and was like, I am quitting politics permanently. I will never return to politics. Now that I have garnered the respect of Matty Iglesias, who has made a career of being professionally wrong, I have realized that I am on the wrong path. I must go back to the drawing board and maybe take on other hobbies. Like, for example, knitting or CrossFit or having sex in orgies. like I used to with my CrossFit instructor. I am done. My job here is over. I have started taking mood stabilizers, and it has made me realize that I can no longer stand a man. Oh, Brian killed me. I forgot. As far as the Zoran, the Zomentum, and the copium. Let's take a look at what Brian Kilme just said.
There you go, live from Washington, D.C. That's what we just watched. Now I'm in New York press conference. I think J.D. Vance is jealous. I think the president wants to use him as a running mate. They really got along fantastic. Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade, lucky enough to fill in for Will Kane. You just saw it, President Trump and New York City Mayor-elect Zoran Mamdani. So there you go, live.
What the fuck? Why does it?
A communist and a
Why was this published tomorrow? Jesse Waters breaking down the meeting. Published 22nd of November. Oh, because it's 22nd of November where I'm at. Jesus Christ, I'm so stupid. Okay, Jesse Waters had a breakdown on it. Let's take a look. Let's see what he had to say.
dictator walk into a bar.
I've had a lot of meetings with the heads of major countries. Nobody cared. This meeting that you people have gone, you know, outside you have hundreds of people waiting. This is just a small little group. For some reason, the press has found this to be a very interesting meeting. The biggest people in the world, they come over from countries nobody cares, but they did care about this meeting.
The press was foaming at the mouth. They thought it'd be the biggest brawl since Zelensky.
Just days ago, you referred to President Trump as a despot.
No, I didn't think so. I was very excited for it, and I thought it was going to be exactly like this. If you go back and see my coverage on it, I was like, no, this is going to surprise you, and it's going to be a lot nicer. Trump's going to be a lot nicer to Zoran than people think he is.
Who betrayed the country. You said you would be his worst nightmare and accused him of having a fascist agenda. Are you planning to retract any of these?
Also, it's funny that Jesse Waters is like, oh, everybody is so stupid. They thought that this was going to be a real war brewing. They were so stupid. It's like, yeah, brother, you thought it was going to be a fucking war. Your network thought so. Showdown with socialism. Oh, Marjorie Taylor Greene resigning. Let's see what CNN is saying, and then we'll get to Hannity covering it as well. Actually, you know what? Let's do Hannity first, and then we'll do...
was there and asked to meet with President Trump. The president graciously accepted, despite some pretty harsh smears leveled by Mamdani on the campaign trail against President Trump. Here's a reminder.
Just days ago, you referred to President Trump as a despot who had betrayed the country. You said you would be his worst nightmare and accused him of having a fascist agenda. Are you planning to retract any of these remarks in order to improve your relationship?
I think both President Trump and I, we are very clear about our positions and our views, and what I really appreciate about the president is that the meeting that we had focused not on places of disagreement, which there are many, and also focused on the shared purpose that we have in serving New Yorkers. And frankly, that is something that could transform the lives of the 8.5 million people who are currently struggling under a cost of living crisis, with 1 in 4 living in poverty. And the meeting came back again and again to what it could look like to lift those New Yorkers out of struggle and start to deliver them a city that they could do more than just struggle to afford it, but actually start to live in it.
And I've been called much worse than a despot, so it's not that insulting. Maybe I think he'll change his mind after we get to working together.
Been called a lot worse. Now, this could be a lesson for Democrats. Now, the president will put aside political differences, work with anyone, anywhere, anytime to make every corner of our country a better place. Take a listen.
We've just had a great meeting, a really good, very productive meeting. We have one thing in common. We want this city of ours that we love to do very well. And I wanted to congratulate the mayor. He really ran an incredible race against, a lot of smart people. We talked about some things in very strong common, like housing and getting housing built, and food and prices, and the price of oil is coming way down. Anything I do is going to be good for New York. If I can get prices down, it's good for New York. And we've got them down, way down from last year. I just want to congratulate. I think you're going to have hopefully a really great mayor. The better he does, the happier I am. I will say there's no difference in party. There's no difference in anything. And we're going to be helping him to make everybody's dream come true, having a strong and very safe New York. And congratulations, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Now, ultimately, this video of Mamdani and Trump in the Oval Office getting along, well, having a productive meeting is really only horrifying for Democrats. Where's the guy that was on the campaign trail saying he's going to beat Donald Trump's worst nightmare? Now, their far-left hero is shaking hands with the guy they called a fascist and a Nazi and a racist.
This is so
Very
funny. They
confusing
literally
for
went from
But
jihadist,
maybe, just
criminal
maybe,
terrorist
this
that
will
Donald
help
Trump is
some
going to
on the
destroy
left
to like,
emerge
he's
from their
actually such a
anti-Trump
nice guy.
psychosis, come back to reality. I am not holding my breath. Let me make a prediction. Over time, they will clash. They will clash heavily, and Donald Trump will win. So what went on behind today's closed-door meeting, and will Mamdani revert back to his extremist, Trump-hating, name-calling self when he gets back to New York? Probably. Anyway, here with more, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt. I think that part publicly surprised them, but it's not really surprising knowing President Trump as well as I do. He wants peace. This guy won the election. He asked for a meeting. The president met with him. But I don't see how they will reconcile defund, dismantle, no bail laws, empty the jails, and not support ICE in their attempt to enforce the law. I don't see any resolution there. Do you?
Well, Sean, you hit the nail on the head in your opener there. This meeting today really proved that President Trump is willing to meet with anybody, to sit across the table, to shake hands, look people in the eye, and have discussions on how they can mutually benefit the American public. And don't forget, President Trump is a lifelong New Yorker. He loves that city. He helped build the skyline as it exists and shines today. So, of course, he wants New York to succeed. He wants all of America to succeed, because he is a president for all Americans, despite what the Democrat Party and the leftist media might tell the American people every single day. The president. Interesting
takes overall. Oh, so he wants what's best for America by what? Aligning with a jihadist, communist, Islamo-communist, Marxist, socialist. That's weird. That doesn't make any sense, does it?
Of President Trump and this administration, rest assured to New Yorkers and all Americans, the president is going to continue to put you.
Bro, he literally said he was going to cut funds to New York like it's fucking Cuba. Okay? He said he was going to do a trade embargo on New York City. Okay? What happened? What happened?
Energy independence. And
what
of
happened?
course, we are going to continue to mass deport illegal criminals from our communities. And
I'm sorry, but I don't think you can build a resilient movement that is at the mercy of one man and his own personal ambitions and his own personal narcissistic desires. Okay? There is no lifeline here post-Trump. It's so fucking crazy. These guys have no consistent principles. They have no interest in ever yelling at Donald Trump. They have no interest in ever criticizing Donald Trump. They just literally leading up to this meeting, moments prior to this meeting, the Fox News commentary was this: Donald Trump is going to issue a smackdown like you've never seen before, destroying Zoran Mamdani. And then after the meeting, they're like, Donald Trump is the great uniter of America. He is doing a fantastic job. It is straight up a fucking cult. And Trump has whipped them in line so perfectly. He has genuinely redesigned American politics, and specifically the Republican Party, in his own vision, where everyone with proximity to power, first and foremost, has to be loyal to Trump. No interest in any ideological consistency, no interest in ever doing anything, really, other than whatever the fuck Donald Trump wants.
The issue of cost of living, because it continues to be a concern for voters, and President Trump is very well aware of that. But look at what he's done thus far. It's a proven economic formula that is working when you combine a massive deregulatory campaign to get the government out of the way of small business and American industry. When you look at what he's done with respect to energy independence, to unleash America's resources right here at home to drive down oil prices, which we've already seen result in a 20% decrease in oil prices. We have lower prices at the pump today than we did years ago, and those prices are going to continue to decline. If you look at the cost of...
Like, if you're just a watcher at home, if you are just a watcher at home, and you're like MAGA, you're MAGA adjacent, or you're just fully MAGA, and you believe in maybe something beyond Donald Trump. And I guess it's kind of stupid to say you're MAGA and you believe in something beyond Donald Trump, because MAGA just only believes in Donald Trump, right? But if you have any sort of interest in politics, right? If you have any sort of interest in the political side of things, don't you get a little mad at least when you see this, when you're like, wait a minute, I thought this guy was a fucking horrible monster. I thought this guy was a horrible monster, and all of a sudden Trump is turning around and saying he's fucking hot and sexy and that we should like him. And all of these media, all the organs of media that are supposed to be telling me the truth just snapped in. Like, there is not even a moment of moderation in order to transition to a pro-Zoran statement. Like, they did not even lean into it or slowly pivot in that direction. They just immediately, they got their marching orders and snapped into this position. It is shocking. Trump is obviously his own bizarre person with his weird psychology, but I can't help but cringe at how eager MAGA world guys are to play the worthy populist enemy shtick. Whenever the left does well, that they need to use our success as a validator says quite a lot about them. In the days before Zoran Mamdani's victory, I heard a telling phrase from Washington's MAGA political class: game recognized game. The context of this observation was President Donald Trump's begrudging fondness of my little communist, as he labeled New York City mayor-elect. By November 5th, the line was in the mouth of MAGA zeitgeister Steve Bannon, who told his followers on War Room, game respects game. The notes of celebration in the White House reaction to Mamdani reflect something real. Trump and his circle disdain the Bush, Ryan, Romney, Clinton, Schumer, Jeffries, Democratic establishment in equal measure. And they're eager to join a battle on the other side of the horseshoe, where left-wing and right-wing populists share a diagnosis that the American and global systems are fully discredited and are ready to fight it out for a new world order. I think there is some truth to this assessment, okay? There is some truth to this assessment that they see either side, like they see the left flank in a similar way, right? They see the left flank in a similar way to like the MAGA momentum. But I think they have great fear. Steve Bannon is more fearful. Steve Bannon is more fearful of Zoran Mamdani than he lets on. I mean, he has actually openly said that too. He said that if the Zoran wing or the left wing of the party actually takes over the Democrats, we will never win another election again. Something along those lines, right? Because at least on paper and in theory, the left flank of the Democrats are actually invested in improving the material conditions of the working class. The right populist flank, the sloppulists, are not. They're only interested in using the aesthetics of fighting for the working class in order to win elections, while they actively try to reposition people's interests and redirect people's angst and animosity towards this broad elite that is defending all of the culture war issues that they want to converse on. That's the only thing that they want to fight on. Culture war shit. Okay? You got the real populists and then you got the sloppulists. People who cannot distinguish between the two end up falling into this like horseshoe dynamic. And you have centrist liberals who absolutely fall into this dynamic where they go, oh, both sides are extreme, both sides are radical, both sides are populist, right? Without actually recognizing that one side is genuinely invested in left-wing economic populism. The other side is simply using it because they recognize that it is the one true genuine counter to the liberal hegemony that exists. That's why you kind of see the centrists and you know, people who abhor Zoran Mamdani and even like the right wing kind of engage in this handshake.
I'm called much worse than a despot, so it's not that insulting.
Well, let's try that again.
Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about...
That's okay. You can just say yes. Okay. It's easier. It's easier than explaining it. I don't mind.
The name calling, that's politics. Trump's been giving it and taking it his whole career. This sends a signal to Democrats that Trump's really about business. And if he really was a dictator, would you let some guy come into your house and call you that? No. And did Mamdani go in there and hide his face like Big Gretch? No. Zoran's mayor, Trump's president, so let's get down to it.
I think you're going to have hopefully a really great mayor. The better he does, the happier I am. I expect to be helping him, not hurting him. A big help, because I want New York City to be great.
Trump and Zoran want the same thing for the city. They both want it to be safe and affordable. They might not always agree on how to get there, but instead of bickering, they've found common ground.
He wants to see a lot of houses created, a lot of apartments built, etc. And you know, we actually
yeah, they snapped back into pro Zoran so hard that they're saying his name right. By the way, they're like the tone shift was so imminent. Quick question: why does Trump hate other socialists like Ilhan and AOC and loves Bernie and now Zoran? Could you share your analysis? National popularity, and also they're women. Ilhan Omar is a black woman who is also Muslim. Visibly Muslim, she is hijabi. AOC is a brown woman. Donald Trump definitely doesn't like those things, but I don't think AOC and Ilhan Omar are as I love Ilhan Omar, as you guys know, but the reality is like they are nowhere near as nationally popular as Bernie Sanders and Zoran Mamdani are. They're women. Donald Trump doesn't like that in general. They're black and brown women. Donald Trump doesn't like that at all. But in terms of why he also doesn't look past them like he does with look past that like he does with Claudia Sheinbaum is popularity. Claudia Sheinbaum is unimaginably popular. That's it. It's national popularity. Claudia Sheinbaum is popular.
People would be shocked, but I want to see the same thing.
Not just housing. Trump wants to rein in the electric company and help Mamdani fight crime. Trump says we're not going to throw good money after bad. He's not going to be sending money for government-run grocery stores. We're talking common sense stuff that helps the middle class. Some of their playbooks overlap.
I spoke to New Yorkers who had voted.
See, now this is exactly what I was saying. He is leaning into. He is trying to get a crumb of legitimacy on the affordability front by aligning with Zoran Mamdani, the guy who won on affordability. That's straight up what's going on here. And Fox is instantly leaning into it.
For the president last November, I heard again and again two major reasons. One was that they wanted an end to forever wars. They wanted an end to the taxpayer dollars we had funding violations of human rights. And they wanted to address the cost of living crisis.
A lot of my voters actually voted for him. And
1 in 10.
And I'm okay with that.
Trump looks at Zoran like young Bernie, political outsiders who have some wacky ideas but have compassion for the working man and a lot of love from their base. Some Bernie bros voted for Trump the same way some MAGA folks in Queens voted for Zoran. They have different policies with the same goals, making life more affordable for the average Joe. The difference between Zoran and Bernie, Mamdani beat the odds and the establishment.
I think he's different. All right, I think he's different, and that can be in a very positive way, but I think he's different than, you know, your typical guy, runs, wins, becomes mayor.
Love him or hate him, Zoran's fresh, and Trump likes to get his hands on new brands. He can work with anyone, Jews, Muslims, communists, little rocket man. The New York relationship is based on action and results, not labels and insults. Zoran might be a...
The relationship that Trump has is on results, not insults. Is the funniest fucking thing that you could say about Donald Trump as a politician. Donald Trump is literally almost exclusively the insult guy. Donald Trump is exclusively he's a quiet piggy to a fucking journalist on Air Force One. Sometimes it's his only redeeming quality, as a matter of fact. Is Elon the little rocket man? No, it's Kim Jong-un. Loomer is still having a major meltdown. That's awesome.